So this is Sola, and she just turned 2 years old about 2 weeks ago now. And basically, she was born and bred and raised on our farm here at Partridge Horse Hill. And I didn't really do anything with her when she was a weanling. I did just enough groundwork with her so that she could be safely handled to go in and out of the barn to get her daily grain. She does live outside 24/7, and just enough handling so she could get her vaccinations and get her feet done, get her teeth checked, and get dewormed. So really she just comes in and out of the barn every day for her grain. And all I did with her before this session right now is I did a little bit of shedding blade grooming with her, just so that way, because she was pulled out of the field, I wanted her to look a little bit more tidy, not that you can tell right now. And this horse over here, this is Nalina, who is actually her mom. And this is Maya, and she is my student that ended up buying Nalina from me after she had her baby. So,
me and Alina normally do hunter jumper. We jump about, the highest that we jump regularly is 3 feet, and I normally take her out on trails a lot and stuff. I bought her after she had Sola, and I kind of weaned her back into riding, but I'm really excited to see how Sola does after her first session.
yeah, so I'm going to take Sola into the round pen. This will be the first time she's ever had a saddle on. This will be her first training session since she was probably a few months old when I did her initial training to make sure she could lead and go in and out. She hasn't had any sort of round pen work or training done since then, so it's been a long time for any of that. So what I'm going to do is show you my harmony horsemanship technique, where I'm going to go through my horse's ABCs, which basically means I'm going to help her figure out all of the different cues that I can give her. Can she move her shoulders, her haunches, go sideways, follow my energy up, follow my energy down, get her really in sync with me, make sure we have some trust with that. Then I'll toss the saddle on her and do the ABCs with the saddle on so she can feel what that feels like. And if she's looking like she's confident and trusting, then I'll get in the saddle and I'll start to teach her the ABCs with a saddle on. So let's go take a look at Sola's first session. Here we go with Sola at the beginning of her session. So I'm just starting with sort of rubbing her all over her body, and I'm going to check in that she understands her ABCs and how to give to pressure. And it's really important that she can understand how to move away from touch. So that way, that's basically what I'm going to do when I'm riding. I'm going to be touching her with my legs, touching her with my reins, and I want to make sure that she's not going to get upset or panicked by any of that, but also that she's going to understand what that pressure means. So there I was asking her to lower her head, which is a nice exercise to do to put relaxation into the horse. And then here I'm just checking in with her ABCs, a little bit of back up, a little bit of moving the shoulders, and I'm going to do a little bit of moving the hips. And if you're interested to see the full session with her that's unedited with my voiceover with explanations of what I'm doing, then I encourage you to check out harmonyhorsemanship.ca, which is my website. And on that website, there's a tab for online learning. And on the Harmony Horsemanship 101 online learning course is the full unedited clip. It's over an hour long, and it sort of explains everything that I'm going through here. So these are just sort of some snapshots here of showing you some of the things that I was doing beforehand to make sure we had understanding before we got in the saddle, or before we even got to even introducing the saddle. So here's a little bit of looking at sending her forward. And I included this next part here just to show you that it wasn't all, easy peasy. Even though she's a bit of sort of a lazy, calmer, quieter horse, I wanted to show you that she does have a little bit of attitude in there. So that was it's a little bit of, hey, I don't want to do this, some tossing on the line. She's not sure that my ideas are great ideas. And she doesn't really have a work ethic because she hasn't done anything since she was a baby, and I did a little bit of groundwork with her. So she's putting up a little bit of her own ideas. And what I want you to notice is in my body language how calm I am with her. So she's sort of kicking up a fuss and really kicking out and being really sort of all over the place and fighting me, but my body never sort of runs at her
I stay very calm. There you can see like the stick is completely on the ground. I'm not even using it. And I'm just trying to be polite, consistent, and patient with what I'm wanting. So when she sort of stops and does things like that, then I'm using my stick politely, but I'm never actually tagging her or hitting her or anything like that. And that's sort of what harmony horsemanship is about. It's kind of about trying to show your horse that we can have a mutual understanding and respect, and it's not about the intimidation or the force. So here I'm introducing the saddle pad and the saddle for the very first time. And I'm letting her sniff it first, getting used to that, and then I'm going to put it up on her back. And this part actually really surprised me. So, I let her sniff it a little bit, and I figured she would have no problem with it because when she was born, it was April, but it was a really, really cold April. So we did end up blanketing her very first year. So she, had a blanket going on and off of her. And so I didn't think she would be surprised over having something put on her back. So it just goes to show you that you can't really make assumptions with horses. So I had to take the time to work with that. I'm a firm believer of don't move on to the next step until you have relaxation with the step before. So here's a little look at tossing the saddle pad on after playing some approach and retreat to get her more comfortable with that and rewarding her for when she was standing still and just being patient with her when she's got it all figured out. So then we were able to progress on to having the saddle on, and then here's a little look at her first time going out with the saddle on, and you'll notice I've got her on the line because when I first send horses out with saddles on, I like to have the line on because I don't want them running in a panic, or if they do get running in a panic, then I want to be able to bend them to a stop or intervene. I don't want them to hurt themselves. So I want to put her on the line and send her out on the circle going forwards and just get a feel for, is she going to be safe? I do want to let them go off the line to do a little bit of running around just because it's a little bit easier for them, but I want to make sure it's not going to be in a panic. So you can see here she's actually behaving a lot better than she was before with the going forward. She's not kicking out at me, so that's nice. And then here she is off the line. I give her a chance to explore herself a little bit, and you can see she's sort of bucking around a little bit, but not really in fear. She's not really happy with the saddle, but she's not really galloping forward and looking super scared. She's just sort of kicking up around, not really any worse than what she was doing before when she had no saddle on and she was giving me a little bit of her 2 cents about the whole process. So after we got that sorted out and we found relaxation, here's a look at me just playing around with her to get her set up for her first ride. And to do this, I've already done some steps about, jumping on the ground with her, putting weight in the stirrups, weight on her back. I've already prepped her by doing some of these cues on the ground to make sure she's got the understanding before I get in the saddle. And then you can see me doing some bending with her, just some very basic things. I want her to understand that I want her to be relaxed. I want her to feel good about the session, and I don't want her to have any tension in her body. So just nice basic things. It's not always about go and whoa. That's certainly a part of things, but I want to have that bending in there too. And then jump forward to the end of this video is just showing you a little look at where she finished off in her training. And so you can see she's moving forward nicely and looking really, really nice. And I just want you to take a moment to pay attention to the fact that she's not really sweaty or out of breath, which for me is important because I'm not a fan of working horses into exhaustion to get them to do what you want them to do. I want them to be calm and relaxed partners. So you can see she's understanding how to do walk, to do trot, and we've got some backup that we can do and bending right and left. So that's a great first session for her for saddling and for riding, especially since she hasn't done anything in such a long time. So I'm really thrilled with this session, and basically now she's going to get to do groundwork and just sort of hang out again. She's only 2 years old, so I just wanted to sort of get her started, see where she was at, what I was in for, and lay a little bit of a foundation, and she's doing absolutely wonderful. So I want to thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next week.